Hello, welcome to Huntsville's inaugural gBETA Pitch Night. I am so excited to be here. And my name is Huang Wang, and I am the director of gBETA Huntsville. And over the past few months, I've been working with these amazing founders who are building the next great American companies right here in Alabama. They have worked tirelessly to kind of bring the innovations to market. They have done amazing things and are wonderful human beings. And I'm so happy and proud of everything they've done today. For tonight, for gBETA, we're going to hear some remarks from our partners and sponsors, followed by the five-minute pitches and a question each. And so a little bit of background about gener8tor. We are a nationally ranked gold-tiered accelerator, and we have been working with startups, over 500 startups across the country and internationally, and have kind of built a lot of support. Our goal is to be the #1 best community partner that invests in the best and brightest in each community. As far as gBETA, this is Huntsville. It's our 25th location. We have been in these cities that you see here. And with the gBETA, a little bit background, it is a free 7-week accelerator. We don't take equity and we don't charge a fee. And we're able to do this because of the support of our sponsors. Through the 7-week program, the startups work on getting their executive summaries and pitches, meet with a lot of mentors and a lot of investors. And it has just been working so hard throughout the accelerator. About our statistics, we have worked through gBETA with over 500 companies that have created 24 jobs and have raised $202 million. And just with our current cohort of the 5 companies in gBETA Huntsville, they have collectively have $4 million in annual revenues and have raised $10 million. That is amazing. Such an impressive group. And so gBETA could not have happened without the support of our wonderful partners and sponsors who have been working so hard behind the scenes just to make everything happen. So a big shout out to First Metro Bank, Bank Independent, Arco Murray, Roberts & Morton, Federal & Gill, Fortive, Iron Mountain Solutions, a Department of Commerce made in Alabama, Mid-City Accelerator Foundation, and RCP companies. You have made everything possible, and we are so grateful of your continued support of the fantastic startups and to contribute to the ecosystem here in Huntsville. And our mentors. These mentors are wonderful people. They're great friends. They have been very generous in opening up the Rolodex, in adding insights, in helping the startups kind of connect the dots and help them really scale and grow, and have just invested a lot of time and energy to supporting our companies. And I am so grateful to each and every one of the mentors here. And here's a list of the people who have been such a great part of our gBETA cohort as mentors. So thank you so much. You have been fantastic. I've been getting lots of great feedback from the startups about how much value you're adding to them. And as for investors, we have these and other investors that have been meeting with our startups and really recognize that there is so much talent and innovation happening in Alabama. And they are so thrilled and really seeing the potential and do believe with me that the next billion-dollar company will come out of here. These are just some of the fantastic investors that have been meeting with our startups. They're all kind of really great investors, my angels, seed, and Series A investors that have been giving a lot of the time to kind of help with the startups, help them with fundraising, listening to the pitch decks, have requested follow-on meetings. And so I think we're putting Huntsville and Alabama on the map, that this is the place for innovation and entrepreneurship. And I'm happy to introduce Remy Gross. He is one of the key architects that helped work behind the scenes to make gBETA and gener8tor have a strong presence here in Huntsville. Let's hear it from Remy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome virtually or welcome live to the first ever gBETA Pitch Night in Huntsville, which is powered by gener8tor, an amazing accelerator program, and sponsored by Mid-City Accelerator Foundation and some wonderful sponsors who've helped us make this happen. My name is Remy Gross. I'm a co-founder of RCP Companies. We're the developer of Mid-City, and in wanting to continually give back to the community as it's done so much for us, we created the Mid-City Accelerator Foundation in order to partner with gener8tor to bring their amazing process and their amazing people into our community to help create and advance entrepreneurship, entrepreneurs, new companies, new technologies that are all going to increase equality in and around our community, our region, our state, and hopefully the world. I'm super excited about this, and it's a true passion project for me and for us at RCP to be able to not only help stand up this accelerator program that gener8tor is operating, but also to be able to watch these companies grow, be able to connect them, watch them get connected, and watch them move forward and advance. Entrepreneurship's an amazing thing, and it's on the decline here in the US. Important groups like gener8tor look to stop that and actually turn it around by providing a really novel and unique program that's applicable all over, but particularly in amazing towns like Huntsville, where you have so many smart people, you've got so many people that are interested and curious, and you also have people that are willing to take a risk on something that will hopefully do well and also do good. So you're about to hear from 5 different companies who are just that, who are doing amazing things. And all of us at RCP and the Mid-City Accelerator Foundation are humbled to be able to watch these companies grow and to maybe be able to claim a tiny sliver of being able to say we assisted these guys and gals in moving forward. So we couldn't do this without an amazing bank of sponsors that made this happen, like Bank Independent, First Metro, Iron Mountain, and many others. I hope you enjoy this evening's pitches and you learn a lot and you see things that are going on in our backyard that I didn't know about. And I'm so honored to not only know about, but be able to be in the stands or doing whatever we can at the foundation to try and help move them forward. So I hope you enjoy this evening's show. You learn a lot, make some connections, and I'm very honored and thankful that you're here to enjoy this pivot point on their journey. So thanks. Enjoy the evening.
Good evening. I'm Michelle Gilliam Jordan, the Executive Director of the Top of Alabama Regional Council of Governments, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to be here with you tonight, both in person and virtually. I am so excited that gener8tor selected Huntsville, Alabama for their gBETA inaugural cohort. And I bet I know why they picked Huntsville, the once sleepy cotton mill textile town that it was, for their accelerate. Their goal and their mission is to accelerate the best and the brightest, the ones with big ambition. So can you guess why they chose Huntsville? Huntsville, North Alabama, the state of Alabama has been committed to cultivating the entrepreneurial ecosystem that has thrived and grown here for decades. We not only put man on the moon, we also support and encourage smart people to do incredible things. So Huntsville's goals and gener8tor's theme are perfectly aligned. And as a result, we're all here tonight to support and encourage these 5 incredible companies that will make their pitch soon. The culture and support for this ecosystem didn't just happen by mistake. It wasn't a fluke. One example of our community's commitment to this ecosystem happened about 50 years ago. Ambitious leaders dedicated to nurturing Huntsville's best and brightest joined hands and came up with the idea of creating a permanent environment for this ecosystem. They came up with Cummings Research Park. Everything about the development of this research park was strategic. Its location was strategic. Its proximity to Redstone Arsenal was strategic. Its mission and its goals to support innovation was strategic. The selection of the partners to shepherd its growth, icons like Milton Cummings, Joseph Moquin, and Dr. Warner von Braun, they were strategic. Those men decided that Huntsville, North Alabama, the state of Alabama, was the perfect place to plant this seed. And they decided to make a pitch. Can you imagine the pitch those icons made, not only to the city of Huntsville, who they had to ask to designate thousands of acres for this research park, but also to their friends, and many of their friends ended up being founders and mentors and potential investors, like many of you in this hybrid audience tonight. They had to convince them to come to Huntsville, Alabama, and start companies that would change the way our world does business forever. Can you imagine them coming up to the mic on pitch night, being told, "You only have 5 minutes, Dr. von Braun"? Too bad we didn't have cell phones back then to capture that moment and share it with the world. But that's exactly what they did. They pitched an idea that still has an impact today. That idea, by the best and brightest 50 plus years ago, confirmed this community's commitment to creativity and innovation. So I decided to look up the word ecosystem for my comments tonight. An ecosystem is a community of interacting organisms in their physical environment. Companies like the 5 gBETA inaugural cohort companies that we'll hear tonight, and hundreds of other companies located throughout the region, are the organisms in our ecosystem. While Huntsville, North Alabama, they're all the physical environment for this ecosystem. gener8tor and gBETA and Huntsville Mid-City Accelerator Foundation and all of the other sponsors, they're the interacting agents in this ecosystem. So you put them all together and you turn yourself around, and what do you get? You get why Huntsville was selected for this inaugural cohort event. We weren't selected because US News and World Report said we're the 3rd best place to live in the US. Well, maybe we were. We weren't selected because we brew some of the best beer across the world. Well, okay, maybe we were. We were really selected because we know how to nurture and cultivate entrepreneurial ecosystems. That's who we are, and we're proud of it. So thank you again for being here tonight, and I can't wait to hear the pitches from our 5 incredible companies. Thank you.
And now we will hear remarks from Demarco Mclean, our Senior Vice President of Bank Independent and one of our key sponsors who helped make gBETA Huntsville possible.
So first off, thank you guys for having us. Thank you for all of the pictures. Thank you for the organization. We're really excited about it. Bank Independent started in 1947 in Sheffield, Alabama, as a result of a bank leaving the local community. With that bank leaving the local community, a group of concerned citizens gathered to start this organization. So right from the onset, we were a community organization. We were community-based, which is one of the reasons why we chose to be engaged with gBETA. So tonight, just want to say good luck to all of the five groups that are here to pitch. I want to say good luck to all of you guys, and thank you guys for having us.
Thank you so much. And now we're hearing from Rick Hempstead, who is a Vice President at Iron Mountain Solutions and another one of our key sponsors who helped make gBETA Huntsville possible. And he has been a fantastic part of gBETA.
Well, good evening. Heard from some really fantastic folks this evening so far. Pleasure to follow them. To me, I love the entrepreneur story. I have worked with several really dynamic entrepreneurs. You guys are fun to work with, sometimes hard to work with, but I really love working with you and your story. To me, what I see with an entrepreneur, it's the culmination of creativity, innovation, passion, perseverance, and so many other things. But those are the things that really stick out to me. And I'm proud of Huntsville because I believe we encourage the growth of entrepreneurship, from technology to biotechnology to, as Ms. Jordan said, beer, which I'm very proud of as well. Our community encourages, supports, and sponsors the entrepreneur. She mentioned being ranked number 3 as the best place to live in the U.S., which is fantastic. To me, that's a testament to our dynamic presence of entrepreneurship in our ever-evolving and growing city. To me, it's important for our city to continue to adapt and to continue to achieve our record-breaking growth by pursuing and embracing new and innovative businesses. And isn't that why we're here tonight? So we appreciate the gener8tor team for recognizing the entrepreneur spirit that we have and for joining our community. I'm excited to hear the pitches from these exciting folks tonight. And I want to thank everybody for their efforts for making gBETA Huntsville not just possible, but a success. Thank you.
And now I am thrilled to announce we're going to start our pitches. The first company is Evolution, and they're just such kind, warm people. And we are actually in their space, in their brand new headquarters, 7,000 square feet. Absolutely breathtaking. They just opened, and you can see the plane in the background. It's such a great space, and I'm so grateful they're our venue partner. And let's hear about their amazing technology that they're doing in the aerospace.
Thank you, Hua. All right, so Evolution, avionics for the future. So avionics are the computers that are in an airplane, for any of you guys that are unfamiliar. Now, if I was carrying around today a round phone or a camera or a calculator, of course you would think that's kind of crazy because all these things are applications on our phones. But in an airplane, it still is the case that most of the functions of the airplane are performed by standalone pieces of equipment rather than applications. And what we're doing is we're combining a lot of these pieces that would normally have to be separate pieces of equipment all together on a common platform to be able to produce really innovative avionics solutions for a wide variety of aircraft. The old way, again, kind of discrete components, and our new way is to integrate things together. The old way is what's called the waterfall model, where things are focused on trying to figure out all the requirements at the beginning and then not figuring that out until you get to the end. And on the Evolution way, we're doing things much more incrementally, where we can just start out with a minimum viable product and adapt the product as we go along. In terms of traction, we've got more than 4.5 million in SIBRs, as well as Army and Air Force customers and some key commercial partners to help carry this into the civilian market. In terms of team, myself, I'm the founder of Evolution and put in the initial money. And before that, I was the founder of Digium and made Asterisk, which was an open source telephone system. and also built the wireless phone voice system for NASA's Kennedy Space Center. Andrew Boos is our Director of Engineering and Operations and is also a pilot as well as a subject matter expert in Linux and FACE. Our value proposition is centered around customization, the ability to innovate, and the ability to provide greatly enhanced safety through a common bus architecture. Our revenue is derived from services, licensing, and subscription. In terms of the overall market size, there are both upfront kind of one-time fees as well as software updates that are potentially available. We are in a sense of a crawl, walk, run. We're focused right now on general aviation market because it's a little easier to get into, as well as DoD because there's funds to support a lot of the R&D, and because the problem we're solving is a much more expensive problem for DoD than it is for a lot of other people. But eventually we could also get into the civilian market, or I should say the commercial aircraft market down the road. In terms of our 12-month plan, we just launched 2 new commercial products at AirVenture in Oshkosh last week. In October, we're planning to make our first deliveries through our integrator. In November, we start the phase 2 of our first DoD product, which should be completed by April, and the first flight is scheduled for October 2022. So again, Evolution is revolutionizing the technology and the business model for avionics.
Thank you, Mark. And we have a question from the audience. And so you just came back from Oshkosh and you launched the 2 new products. Can you tell us more about them?
Sure thing. The 2 products are both intended for the general aviation market. One is called the Unpanel, which you saw a picture of earlier. The Unpanel is where we take a Tesla screen and we put all our software on there, and it replaces the entire instrument panel of the aircraft, which saves a lot of weight, a lot of money. And because the screen is so big, it's much easier for a lot of older pilots to be able to read without having to wear reading glasses. And the second one is called an avionics sled. And what that does is it puts all the other components that normally an aircraft builder has to assemble themselves and has it all put together where it becomes really fast for them to be able to install that in their aircraft.
Thank you, Mark. That was fantastic. And now let's hear from Calvin G. from Grayson Robotics.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Hello, everyone watching. Hi, Mom, Dad. Hi, Jordan. My name is Calvin G., and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Grayson Robotics, and we make it easy for businesses to hire robots and AI to supplement their workforce. Over the past 8 months, we've had some amazing traction. We've raised $800,000, sold $500,000 in products, and sold 2 of these guys. These dog robots over here. So what's the problem we're solving? Most of you know, millions of people are not going back to work. Businesses can't find replacements. Remote work has changed work forever, and more people are retiring than entering the workforce. These are long-term problems that might be some of the biggest problems that our generation and generations to follow might face. Once again, our solution is we make it easy for businesses to hire robots and AI. We can replace many of those lost workers. It's affordable, fast, and easy for our customers to deploy. It requires 0 technical knowledge on their part and provides them with a long-term sustainable labor solution. So how do we actually do this? We provide robots and AI as a service. And what's unique about us is many of you might not know this, but robots are expensive. And the vast majority of robot companies are destined to fail. So we've innovated the business model, we've flipped it on its head, and we've created a network of strategic partners all around the world that provide us with about a 70% robot solution. And we then take it to that 100% by adding software, implementation, and tooling. It's our goal to provide mobile robotics like this, collaborative robots like you see over here, and complete assembled solutions for our customers. Our business model is straightforward. We lease robots and AI for hourly rates comparable to human wages, or we sell complete automated solutions for them. As far as more traction, My business partner owns a manufacturing facility in Michigan where we began to automate his facility over the past few years. Those systems used by Ford, GM, Costco, Five Below, and Ace Hardware, we just saw the improvements in terms of labor, cost savings, as well as efficiencies, and we believe that we can build a company around this, and we did. Our market, we believe, is at least a $105 billion per year market. And in terms of future growth, we want to do two things. We want to put, number one, a robot in every workplace and disrupt the US staffing market. And the second thing we want to do is put a robot in every home. And this winter, we're going to be bringing a sub $3,000 version of our robot to retailers across the country. As far as our team, we're led by myself and my partner, Jordan Kiefer. I'm a 10-year plus serial tech entrepreneur. I, for the past few years, ran one of Michigan's largest cannabis companies and have since transitioned back into technology. My business partner, who we went to the University of Michigan together, started a manufacturing company with just one truck in one location, and he took that to 145 trucks, 3 locations, and $22.5 million in annual revenue. So we believe that we are the right team to spearhead this initiative, but most importantly, the world has changed. This is the new normal. We live in a world of Zoom, Twitch, live streaming, and this isn't a problem of technology. It's a problem of adoption and culture. And the silver lining of the pandemic is we have an opportunity to make work better for everyone. There are jobs that obviously people don't want to go back to that break their bodies and spirits, and that can be automated through systems that we're talking about today. More than that, the biggest question that we get is the impact on workers, on humans. And philosophically, again, we want to help eliminate unnecessary work, but more practically, we're working with community organizations like the Autism Alliance of Michigan that I've been a part of for over 7 years and help spearhead their work placement program. So for our customers, where our automated solutions take a little bit more time, we are working with community partners to bring individuals with neurodiverse needs and giving them opportunities to have jobs that they normally wouldn't have. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Calvin. Love the robotics dog. A question for the audience is, you have been working with some really major companies to build personalized robots to help them with their manufacturing and other services. Can you talk a little bit about some of the lessons learned and some of the results you got?
Great question. I think businesses, big and small, have the opportunity to bring these automated technologies to their workforce. And really what we like to focus on, yes, we've worked with big companies, but we want to help the smaller companies out. We want to help them compete against the big behemoths like Amazon. And we find that we not only provide those businesses to be competitive, but their workforce an opportunity to work with high-tech technologies, with further training, and provide them with social and economic mobility. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. And next up, we have Hassan, who is with MRI Math and is doing really amazing things in a cancer space.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here. I want to start by the thank yous. First, I want to thank Rachel Lane for working with us to help us focus our message and connecting us with gBETA. I would like to thank the mentors of gBETA, in particular, Hua and Remy Gross, who are really generous in sharing their vast experience with us and helping us focus our message and move to the future. Let me tell you about MRI Math. MRI Math, we use AI and technology to help doctors make better decisions that save lives. And I'm going to give you an example. So we have a software that empowers physicians to more accurately and efficiently evaluate tumor growth. That would lead to early detection, causing better patient outcomes that saves lives. I'm going to give you a real case. 55-year-old man who was followed at the University Hospital for 7 years for a low-grade tumor of the brain. The patient had multiple MRIs. The last MRI was reviewed by the tumor board that called the tumor stable. 2 weeks later, we looked at the MRIs of all the MRIs of that patient, and we analyzed them. And based on the technology that MRI Math developed, we determined that the tumor had already been growing for the past 5 years. We called the tumor board and we told them, please review the records, the MRIs, the tumor has been growing. They reviewed it and they agreed with us. And based on that, they called back the patient. The patient had surgery and the surgery revealed that the tumor now is no longer a low-grade tumor. It's a higher-grade tumor requiring radiation and chemo. Without that life-saving treatment, the patient would have come back 3 months later with a big tumor in his head and paralyzed. This is not an isolated case. Using similar methods, we looked at 60 cases. It was published in one of the top medical journals, PLOS Medicine, 2 years ago. And on average, we found that if you apply data and a robust analytical method, you can detect tumor growth on average 3 years earlier than the human eye. And the editor of the journal recognized these findings and published it on the cover of the journal. So what are our key achievements? We have more than $500,000 in funding from the National Cancer Institute and National Science Foundation. We have asked 26 users to try our software, and from start to end, it's 3 minutes versus 1 hour, and the variability is only 8 minutes as compared to, variability is 8% as compared to 30% without the software. We've submitted the results to the National Cancer Institute, and based on that, we anticipate that they're going to ask us to submit a phase 2 application this next summer. The research, the software will be ready for research it's actually ready for research use at this time. We've had 30 participants tested. They're from the top institutions in the United States, from UAB, Harvard, Baylor College of Medicine, University of Pennsylvania, Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and University of Michigan, and other universities and people in private practice. We anticipate that the software will be ready for clinical use in the summer, fall of 2022. The mission of MRI Math is to continually raise the bar of doctors and patients' expectations by using AI and technology to help doctors make better decisions to improve patient lives. Our vision is to be the world's most physician-centric and patient-appreciated company, to build a place where physicians can analyze and visualize medical data in the least number of clicks to generate helpful information both for patient care and to discover new knowledge. Let me tell you about the team. I'm a neuro-oncologist. I'm a professor at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I'm also a mathematician. I have a PhD in mathematics. I'm also a graduate student in the MBA program. I will finish my MBA with concentrations in finance, entrepreneurship, and marketing in the next December. I see these patients, and I see that there is a need, a pain to solve. Nidal Bouainaya has a PhD in electrical engineering. She's a professor at Rowan University, and she is the Associate Dean for Research. She and I met 16 years ago in an algebraic topology course at the University of Illinois, and we've been collaborating since then. Sana has a 20-year experience as a software architect in the industry. Our COO has an MBA with a focus on software development, and we have 4 developers. They're really exceptionally smart, and their background is in computer engineering, electrical engineering, and computer science. Our motto is better margins, better outcomes. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Hassan. That was fantastic. And the question is, you have been doing beta testing and interviewing lots of radiation oncologists. What is one key insight you learned from all the interviews and beta testing that you've done?
Thank you. So we did the interviews as part of the NIH I-Course program. And the mentors kind of helped us how to frame the questions. And when we approached doctors, radiation therapists, and neuroradiologists, how much do you value the software? how much you're willing to pay for it based on how much work it saves you. And the answer we get is a minimum of $100,000 per year for an unlimited license. They prefer an unlimited license. And this is based on the work that they save. One radiation oncologist said, if I spend 15% of my time contouring, if I don't do these contours, I will treat patients, I will generate the money, and I'm willing to pay $2,000 a week for that. The other thing that we learned from through the I-Corps program is we traveled to Dubai and we talked to the manufacturers of the MRI machines. And these would be Philips, Canon, Fujifilm, Imaging Information System, a German company, and Infinite, a South Korean company. And what we've learned is that there is a very intense interest now for developing AI solution for radiology. So they all realize that this is the next frontier, and there's almost a competition between them. So and then what we've learned is they're willing to onboard us into their platform, and then all the customers would be able to use the software. Of course, they will get a cut, but we will get access to a large number of customers and multi-billion dollar companies all over the world, essentially. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. That was terrific. Let's hear from John von Schurman.
Hello, I'm John Bowman with SureMed Compliance. I'm the founder and CEO. We're a mission-based organization with a goal of ending the opioid epidemic. So just a little bit of context about the opioid epidemic. What began in the late 90s and up until about 2016 is liberal prescribing of opioids in patients with risk factors. This was facilitated partially by misinformation, deliberate misinformation from pharmaceutical companies. And what you can see is that 2016, the CDC changed their guideline. And now what we see is the pendulum swinging all the way over to the other side. We have now inadequate management of patients with pain, dependence, and addiction. And therefore, we have inadequate prescribing of opioids based on fear from regulators. And what this is doing is it's forcing patients with pain, addiction, and dependence onto the street to have their health care delivered by drug dealers, friends and family, and they're getting illegally manufactured fentanyl, and they're overdosing. So it doesn't matter really what camp you're in, whether it's liberal prescribing or inadequate prescribing, both of these boil down to a simple problem. And that is that physicians do not have enough time treating patients in the office to truly understand all of the risk factors associated with addiction, pain, and possible future substance misuse. Furthermore, because of the new CDC guidelines, physicians must now determine and document up to 26 unique pieces of data in a 16-minute office visit. It's simply not feasible. Pharma, as we talked about just a second ago, has an even bigger problem. There is a big multi-district litigation lawsuit looming right now with many of the pharmaceutical companies that helped create the epidemic. And because of that, there is a new enduring responsibility, much like what we saw with big tobacco. And so their regulatory issue is that they are not allowed to be seen as expanding the market for opioid therapy anymore. And that hurts a lot of very good pharmaceutical companies that are producing abuse-deterrent formulations of opioids that are safer in the hands of patients. Another big issue pharma has is a promotional issue, and that is that access to physicians is decreasing. The old share of voice model does not work anymore, and sentiment for pharma is at an all-time low. I want to introduce you to a solution that solves both of these problems. This is the Care Continuity Program by SureMed Compliance. It is the first and only scientifically proven patient-reported outcome tool that mitigates risk to both the patient and the provider. So how does it work? Well, it's a patient-reported outcome tool. Patients receive a prescription or a welcome letter from their physician in the office. They then go on to a web-based application. They answer a series of questions better aimed at understanding their pain, their risk level, and therapy benefit. And a report is instantly transmitted to the physician's electronic health record, help mitigating the biggest issue that providers have, which is a lack of time in the office. The value to physicians is very clear. This report actually contains 50% of those data points that are required to initiate or continue opioid therapy. This is 13 out of the 26 data points. There's also quite a bit of good, robust clinical data that helps doctors make safer prescribing decisions. The value to pharma. This actually solves the regulatory problem by addressing the opioid market expansion. If utilized correctly by providers, most doctors will actively verify patient suitability, thereby probably prescribing much less opioids than they would if they were not actually checking to see if patients were suitable. This also solves a big promotional problem by delivering impressions at the point of prescribing. And as you can see at the bottom of the summary page, these pharmaceutical companies which white label these programs or purchase ad space at the bottom of our summary page are able to reach physicians sometimes 20 to 30 times a day with a very highly targeted ad. The market size in pain management is about 1.6 billion. That's just our target market. We are moving into other disease states, including acute care, addiction, ADHD, and then also medical cannabis. The total target market size is somewhere around 5.6 billion, excluding medical cannabis. As far as where this fits, one of the most interesting differentiators of our product is that instead of selling this directly to physicians, we actually either license it and white label it to pharma, allowing them to ethically and responsibly promote their abuse deterrent novel molecules, or we allow them to purchase digital advertising at the bottom of those summary pages, and thereby we are able to give this away free to physicians. As far as market traction, in 2018, we became a national exclusive affiliate of the third largest medical malpractice company in the country, ProAssurance, out of Birmingham. In 2019, we wrote our grant. In 2020, we were awarded our grant, and we signed our first pharmaceutical contract with 2 pharmaceutical companies, and we are now expanding that contract nationwide and in negotiations with several other pharmaceutical companies for ad space and to white label this program. Revenue and projections, I'll just move quickly past this. If we just close on just 2 of the contracts in our pipeline, we will exceed that 3.5 million in total revenue. And here's where I just want to make an invitation to anybody who is interested in this epidemic and solving this health crisis, which is going to go down as the greatest health crisis of our generation. We would love to lock arms with like-minded individuals, that's investment groups, other organizations, and we are currently raising a Series A round. Some of our key team members, we have Dr. Abraham Hartzma, who spent 40 years in pharmaceutical outcomes, is an advisor to the FDA and the CDC. Piyush Rai is our Chief Product Officer. He was the CTO for one of the largest healthcare software companies in the country. Dr. David Herrick owns the 2nd largest pain management practice in the state of Alabama, as well as 15 years as a regulator on the Board of Medical Examiners. And Eric Bender, our National Sales Director, has spent 20 years in the industry, selling both in medical devices and pharmaceuticals. And thank you very much.
Thank you, John. That was fantastic. The question from the audience is, what is your vision for SureMed compliance in the next 3 years?
One of the questions we get oftentimes is, why are we partnering with pharmaceutical companies if we're a mission-based organization? We believe wholeheartedly that the pharmaceutical companies that are engaged in the promotion of novel therapies are actually people that we need to be partnering with to get those much-needed therapies in the hands of patients. Our goal is to be able to offer them, leverage the needs that they have, which is getting access to physicians at the point of prescribing. So leverage the needs that they have in order to sponsor these programs and get them in the hands of every single physician that will ever consider writing an opioid for a patient. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And our last startup for this evening, let's hear it from TheraPlay Analytics.
Thank you all. I'm Pauline Roos. I'm the co-founder from TheraPlay Analytics. TheraPlay Analytics is turning at-home rehabilitation into fun and engaging games for patients. So physical therapy has been shown effective for many different disorders, back pain, older adults with dizziness and falls, sports injuries, and many more. It's a very big market. There are about 300 million physical therapy visits in the US per year alone. Key to successful physical therapy is for patients to do their exercises at home. However, only about half of the patients actually do those exercises at home. This is because the exercises can be boring or patients just simply forget to do them. So there's a big room of improvement here. So we think we have a great solution for that at TheraPlay Analytics. TheraPlay Analytics comes with a patient mobile app where the patient is prescribed exercises, they get sent reminders, and they do their physical therapy exercises in the form of fun games. And the clinician then has a web portal where they can prescribe the exercises to the patient, and they can also view what the patient is doing from this web portal. So they get a little window into what the patient is doing at home. So how does it work? The therapist goes to the clinical portal and prescribes the exercises to the patient. They can set things as difficulty level, range of motion, and how often they do it, what days and what time of the day. The patient then logs into their app on their tablet or on their phone, and the app will send reminders of when the patient is to do their exercises. Then the exercises are presented to the patient in the form of fun games. So these games are performed are controlled by the motion of the patient. So typically physical exercises, physical therapy exercises require a patient to move. So the game in the example on the screen, for example, the patient is required to move their head from the left to right. Their head movement will control the mermaid on the screen, and they will get a better score if they perform the exercise correctly. So when their head motion is controlling the games, the sensor data are also analyzed and processed, and these analyzed data are then sent over the cloud to the clinical portal where the therapist receives those. And the therapist can then see three different things. They can see, first of all, did the patient do their exercises as they were prescribed? Secondly, they can see, did the patient do their exercises correctly? And then the third thing they see is the patient improving and how much, or is the patient not improving? So they have all this knowledge of how the patient is doing it at home when the patient comes back in clinic next. Our focus market is physical therapy clinics. There are about 34,000 in the US. We think we can have a 10K lifetime value, so this leads to about 340 million total revenue. To date, we have received 1.9 million in non-dilutive funding. We have run pilots at University of Pittsburgh as well as University of Kansas. And we have strategic partnerships with 5 physical therapy clinics throughout the US. Our market opportunity, our initial market focus is around $1 billion. The served addressable market about 90 billion, and the total international addressable market would be 390 billion. Our milestones, we just completed pilot testing at Kansas University, and we'll be implementing their feedback. We're improving our clinical portal, and we're getting ready for a product launch with initial B2B customers in January. And then in April 2022, we'll perform a clinical study with 40 patients. And in July 2022, we'll get ready for fundraising. We have a highly skilled team, both academically and commercialization-wise, as well as 2 great clinical partners. And in conclusion, TheraPlay Analytics is turning at-home rehabilitation into fun and engaging games for patients. Because only half of the patients actually do their exercise at home, this leaves a large room for improvement. So TheraPlay, what does TheraPlay mean? For patients, it's a fun way to take ownership of their rehabilitation and get better soon. For clinicians, it increases revenue by maximizing effectiveness within the reimbursed visits. And for insurance, it helps them to track effectiveness of therapy and optimize value of outcomes. And then I'd want to thank you all for joining us virtually or in person. And I'd like to thank gener8tor and gBETA for this opportunity. We learned a lot. If you're interested in getting involved with TheraPlay Analytics, we're looking for developing relationships with investors, beta testers for our latest version, physical therapy clinics, and others working with patients. And if you're just interested in staying updated, just email us at the email address on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. And the question from the audience is, can you tell us more about the pilots that you are doing at University of Pittsburgh and University of Kansas?
Thank you, great question. So the first pilot was at the University of Pittsburgh, and this was on a study on or both studies were actually on our app for dizziness in older adults. And in Pittsburgh, they tested this on our first prototype on 6 older adults with dizziness. And we implemented this initial feedback, and then last month we tested it, or our partner at the University of Kansas tested it on 10 older adults, and their initial feedback is great. They all loved the app. They enjoyed playing the game. Some of them were so engaged in the games that they didn't even realize what the animations were and what was in the game. And we're now working on implementing their further feedback to make our app even better. Thank you.
Perfect. And this concludes our first inaugural gBETA Pitch Night in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm sure you can see by now the spirit of innovation, ambition, and humbleness, and brilliance and kindness that is happening right here. I am so proud of these startups, and I know you will hear great things about them in the future as they are building the next great American companies right here in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you and good night.